In the golden age of Hollywood, the cameras flashed, the champagne flowed, and the stars glittered brighter than ever. But behind the glitz and glamour, a secret world thrived, one of power, temptation, and rebellion. These women weren't just actresses. They were firebrands who refused to live by society's rules. While the world idolized their beauty, they shocked it with their choices. From torrid affairs to forbidden romances, these were the women who played the game on their own terms and made sure everyone knew it. Welcome to the untamed world of 10 old Hollywood legends who rewrote the rules of fame, love, and desire. 1. Marilyn Monroe. No name evokes old Hollywood like Marilyn Monroe. With her platinum hair, crimson lips, and hypnotic voice, she was the dream every man wanted, and the mystery no one could solve. Behind the laughter and the iconic white dress scene, Monroe's real life was filled with heartbreak. She enchanted the world, but deep down, she craved stability she never found. Married 3 times to baseball legend Joe DiMaggio, playwright Arthur Miller, and earlier to James Dougherty, Monroe was adored yet endlessly lonely. Rumors of her alleged affair with President John F. Kennedy became one of the biggest scandals in Hollywood history. But beyond the gossip, Marilyn's pain was real, a woman loved by millions, but never by herself. Despite her fame, she struggled with depression and isolation, proving that even the brightest star can be consumed by its own light. 2. Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor wasn't just an actress, she was a phenomenon. With violet eyes and untouchable charm, she ruled Hollywood's heart. But she also ruled its gossip columns. Known for her 7 marriages and countless affairs, Taylor lived passionately and unapologetically. She famously stole singer Eddie Fisher from her best friend Debbie Reynolds and later left him for her co-star Richard Burton. Their love was wild, public, and destructive, but unforgettable. Taylor was condemned by the Vatican for what they called her erotic vagrancy. Yet, she didn't care. She loved fiercely and lived loudly. Behind her scandals stood a woman who simply refused to let others dictate her story. Elizabeth Taylor didn't just break hearts, she broke boundaries. 3. Jayne Mansfield. Jayne Mansfield had curves that stopped traffic and confidence that silenced rooms. She became Hollywood's golden siren, playful, provocative, and dangerously magnetic. Her on-screen charm in films like The Girl Can't Help It mirrored her real-life boldness. Off-screen, Mansfield's love life was as sensational as her career. Rumors linked her romantically to U.S. President John F. Kennedy and even Anton LaVey, the controversial founder of the Church of Satan. Mansfield loved attention and never apologized for it. When Sophia Loren's eyes famously wandered to Jayne's revealing dress at a party, the photograph became legendary. She didn't care about judgment, she cared about living on her own terms. Tragically, Jayne's life ended too soon in a car accident at just 34. But in her short time, she made sure the world never forgot her name or her fearlessness. 4. Mae West. Before Marilyn and Jayne, there was Mae West, the original queen of sass and seduction. With her razor-sharp wit and smoky drawl, Mae turned flirtation into an art form. She didn't just act, she wrote her own plays, including Sex, a performance so scandalous it got her arrested for obscenity in 1927. West's message was simple: women could enjoy pleasure just as much as men. Her sharp one-liners became immortal. "Is that a gun in your pocket? Or are you just happy to see me?" And her romances with boxers, gangsters, and movie stars kept gossip writers working overtime. Mae West wasn't just a sex symbol. She was a pioneer of female empowerment. She made the world laugh, blush, and rethink what it meant to be a woman in control. 5. Marlene Dietrich. With her smoky voice and androgynous allure, Marlene Dietrich was unlike anyone else. She blurred the lines between masculine and feminine, seducing both men and women with equal ease. Dietrich's rumored lovers included actor Gary Cooper, writer Ernest Hemingway, and French heartthrob Jean Gabin. Her romantic life was a whirlwind that fascinated the world, but behind the mystery was a fiercely independent woman who lived life exactly as she pleased. She once said, "I dress for the image, not for myself, not for the public, not for men." That line summed up her philosophy. Her image was power, and she owned it. Even amid the chaos of fame, Marlene Dietrich remained an artist, an activist, and a rebel. She defied Hollywood's rules and defined her own. 6. Tallula Bankhead. Tallula Bankhead was a force of nature, bold, witty, and utterly shameless. Her deep, sultry voice and fearless attitude made her one of the most captivating personalities in Hollywood history. Known for her scandalous honesty, Tallula once admitted to sleeping with hundreds of people, men and women alike. She didn't hide her desires or her wild side. To her, passion was freedom. While critics called her reckless, others saw her as a woman decades ahead of her time. She broke boundaries not just in her relationships, but in her performances, captivating audiences on both stage and screen. Tallula Bankhead's legend wasn't built on scandal alone, it was built on courage. She dared to live authentically in a world that demanded silence, and that, more than anything, made her unforgettable. 7. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford was ambition personified, driven, strategic, and ready to use every weapon at her disposal. From Mildred Pierce to the women, she was the definition of a Hollywood powerhouse. But Joan's rise to fame came with whispers of how she played the game. Rumors swirled about affairs with industry giants like Clark Gable, Spencer Tracy, and even studio heads. Some claimed she used her charm to secure powerful roles during Hollywood's notorious casting couch era. Crawford's personal life was as dramatic as her movies. 4 marriages, countless affairs, and a reputation for ruthlessness, Joan knew exactly what she wanted, and she wasn't afraid to chase it. She became the embodiment of old Hollywood ambition. Glamorous, fierce, and unapologetically hungry for success. 8. Clara Bo. In the roaring 1920s, Clara Bo was the definition of Hollywood's wild child. With fiery red hair and a playful grin, she became the original it girl, a symbol of freedom and fun. But fame came with scandal. Her former secretary exposed private letters and accused her of wild behavior, including shocking claims about her involvement with entire sports teams. Though much of it was gossip, it was enough to stain her reputation. Still, Clara's charm was undeniable. She dated some of Hollywood's most handsome men, including Gary Cooper and Rex Bell, whom she eventually married. Bo lived like she acted, fast, free, and unafraid. For her, love wasn't a scandal. It was survival. And that daring spirit made Clara Bo one of the most fascinating figures of early Hollywood. 9. Vivien Lee. Vivien Lee was elegance personified. With her haunting performance as Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind, she became immortal. But off-screen, her life was far from a fairy tale. Her marriage to actor Laurence Olivier was as passionate as it was destructive. Their love was legendary, but their fights were explosive. Lee battled bipolar disorder, which made her relationships turbulent and her emotions uncontrollable. Despite her struggles, she captivated Hollywood, a woman both fragile and fierce. Rumors of affairs surrounded her, But Lee's real battle wasn't with scandal. It was with herself. Her beauty, her talent, and her pain made her one of the most complex women in cinematic history. A goddess, cursed by her own brilliance. 10. Diana Dors. Diana Dors was Britain's answer to Marilyn Monroe. Blonde, bold, and impossible to ignore. She lived her life like a movie, filled with luxury, laughter, and scandal. Known for her wild parties and uninhibited nature, Diana's mansion became the stuff of Hollywood legend. Guests whispered about the outrageous happenings behind those doors, stories of indulgence and excess that shocked even the tabloids. She had multiple affairs and an appetite for excitement that few could keep up with. Her marriages were passionate and chaotic, particularly with her husband Dennis Hamilton, whose jealousy and control nearly destroyed her. Still, Diana remained unapologetic. She once said, "I wasn't born to be ordinary." And she never was. Her fearless attitude and defiance of moral standards made her a true icon of rebellion in a world obsessed with image.